everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is a show where I take all your questions that you have submitted to me and I answer them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and today we got a jam-packed show for you today. I decided that I wanted to put out a new episode of Ask Alex at least 2 days a week. So I'm going to try to have one out every Monday and every Wednesday. This is coming out today because I couldn't do it yesterday. So I wanted to do it today. And also, if you want to get your question on this show, it's very simple. All you have to do is just send me an email at static145910@gmail.com, or you can simply tweet me at Mr. Alex Hampton, or you can leave a comment under my Instagram post at Mr. Alex Hampton. Now that I've gotten that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into the first question of the day. And the first question comes from a David Shaw, and he writes, "Hey Alex, the brand new SpiderMan Far From Home trailer came out and introduced the Multiverse. Does this mean that we will see Tom Hardy's Venom be introduced in the MCU now that there's other universes in the MCU?" Well, thank you for your question, David. So what David's referring to is that like a couple of days ago, I think on Tuesday, there was a new Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. In that trailer, we see basically the after effects of what happened in Avengers Endgame. Plus, we get introduced to the fact that there is a multiverse. They establish that there are other Earths or realms within the universe. We kind of saw that hinted in Avengers Endgame to a degree, but they basically acknowledge that, hey, there is a multiverse in this particular movie. So, what David's referring to in the trailer, Mysterio is from another Earth. And he's basically telling Peter and teaching Peter how to be a hero and defeat all these different entities that are going on Peter's trip. Also, we also know that Sony owns Venom and Spider-Man. And we also know that Venom is basically his own cinematic universe along with all the other ancillary characters that will be introduced in that particular cinematic universe. Now, Amy Pascal has said before that, Venom is not a part of the MCU, but they're in the same reality. Now, granted that they have introduced this multiverse in this particular film, my answer to your question is I don't believe we will see Venom, at least that iteration of Venom in Spider-Man. I do think that at some point we will see Spider-Man face off against Venom. Do I think it'll be Tom Hardy's Venom? Probably not. Do I think that there's a potential to open up that door to have Tom Hardy's Venom face off against Spider-Man? I do think there is that potential now that we're opening this different multiverse. But I don't think that we will see Venom jump into Spider-Man's MCU in any time soon. As far as I know, we have to see how this cinematic universe is going to pan out since Venom only has one movie. I'm very interested to see where they're going to take this multiverse. And keep in mind, I don't really think that this is a real thing. It may be, but I don't know. I have to see the movie first. But if this is true, if it is a real thing, then yes, we'll probably see Venom, but maybe in the near future, or maybe not the iteration of Venom. So thank you for your question, David. Now let's jump into the next question, which comes from Amanda Owens. And she writes, "Hey Alex, Star Wars is going to take a 3-year break, and after the break, they're going to release a movie every 2 years. Do you think this is a smart business move by Disney?" Well, thank you for your question, Amanda. So what Amanda's referring to is that literally within the last few days, it was reported by other media websites that Disney has made an announcement that after Star Wars Episode 9, there will be no more Star Wars films for the next 3 years. And then after that 3-year period, they're going to release a movie every 2 years. So the question that she's asking me is that, do I think this is a smart business move? So as we all know, Disney owns different divisions: Pixar, DreamWorks, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and all this other stuff. I'm just going to base my answer of how I view the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's literally about 3 films that come out each year in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Case in point, in 2019 we got Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and now we're about to get SpiderMan Far From Home. Even though it's not a Marvel movie, it's still it's a Marvel movie, but it's a Marvel movie affiliated with Sony. So those 3 films we're going to get in 1 year. So I think it is a terrible business move, only because, for these reasons, that you have to figure out a plan of how you're going to establish your universe. It's been reported after they did episode 7 that they didn't have a really clear-cut vision of how they're going to do each Star Wars film. At first it was, we're going to do an episodic movie, and then a standalone ancillary movie, and then another episodic movie, and then another standalone movie, which kind of basically shook Star Wars, because Solo was not necessarily a great movie. It was okay for me, but it wasn't necessarily a great movie. But in the midst of it not being a great movie, it kind of deterred a lot of fans. Also, Star Wars Episode 8 deterred a lot of fans as well. I think Star Wars Episode 8 was amazing. But since they've received a lot of negative fan response from what they're doing in the Star Wars movies, to a degree, because we have to keep in mind that these movies have made money, they want to play it safe. And I think that what they need to do is that if they're going to say, we're going to take a 3-year break, if they need to take a break, they need to take maybe a year break. Because all it takes, I think, from planning a movie slate, you just need 12 months. If you're going to take a break, take a year break and say, hey, in the next year, in 2021, we're going to do this, that, and the third. But you also have to keep in mind, Disney just bought Fox. So, all their Fox content has to fill in some of the gaps. So that's why they're pretty much chilling on Star Wars. And keep in mind, Star Wars is going to be very prevalent on the Disney Plus service, which means we will see original content of Star Wars, like original shows, animated stuff. There's a whole lot of Star Wars that's going into the Disney Plus service as well. So we may not be receiving any movies for the next 3 years after episode 9, but there will be more Star Wars content to fill in the gaps. And also, Disney has to manage how they're going to place their other content within the year. Because you got to look at it like this. Within a 12-month period, Disney probably puts out, as a company, Disney probably puts out maybe 10 films a year. So we already know 3 of those films are going to be 3 of those films are going to be Marvel films. And the rest of those films are either going to be from Pixar, DreamWorks, Lucasfilm, or even Fox. So you have to keep that in mind. As a company, you don't want to oversaturate your content in a way where you can't just layer it where something comes out. So I think that has a lot to do with why they're pushing off for 3 years. So thank you for your question, Amanda. And now I'm going to jump into my next question, which comes from a Jacob Mosley. And he writes, hey Alex, the Avatar sequel has been delayed again. Do you think James Cameron should cancel the project? Well, thank you for your question, Jacob. It's funny because I was just talking about Avatar in my last question. But to answer your question directly, do I think they should cancel it? Listen, I don't know if they should cancel it per se, but I do think that they should probably move forward with this particular project. I can't seem to understand why this keeps getting pushed back. But then again, I understand that Disney has now bought Fox. So now Avatar is a Disney property, which means that Disney, if they're going to launch a Avatar movie, Disney's probably going to do it in their way. So for me, James Cameron delaying it, because this movie was supposed to come out, I believe, in 2014, and then it jumped to 2016, and then to 2017, 2018. It had so many release dates that for some reason they just couldn't get it out. Do I think they should cancel it? No, I still think it's a beloved property. I enjoyed the first one. I think that was the ultimate epitome of a movie where we saw 3D actually work for a lot of people. But for me, I don't think they should cancel it. Now, if they push this back to like 2025, then okay, cancel it. Cancel it. Now, this raised the question of, is people excited to see this movie? Personally, I don't think so. I don't think people are that excited to see it. Until we see a trailer or some form of production art, maybe that can rile the excitement back, but I don't think that people are really calling for an Avatar 2 only because it's been so long. I mean, this movie was supposed to come out in 2014. You know, it's now 2019, and 2019 is about to wrap up. Like, we're in May now. You know, like, we're in May, we're about to be in June. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I don't know if this movie is I don't think it should be canceled. I do think there should be some form of remarketing for the movie, but I do think they should get it out. But, you know, speaking on canceled things, we are coming to our final topic today, our final question, and it comes from a Veronica Campbell. And she writes, "Hey Alex, so the Gambit movie is officially canceled by Disney. Do you think this movie was actually going to be made before the Disney merger?" Well, thank you for your question, Veronica. I'll say this. Since the whole Disney-Fox merger, and this has been brought up a lot in my questions, this is kind of the reason why I have to do at least 2 episodes a week of this show. It's because Disney has canceled a lot of original Fox content, and they've fired people. They are restructuring and redesigning what they want the Fox emblem logo or Fox banner Fox content to look like at Disney. So what that means is that there was a Gambit movie. Channing Tatum was attached to it. There was set designs in New Orleans, like they were getting ready to shoot in New Orleans. And the whole purpose of the Gambit movie, when it was originally announced, was to do standalone X-Men movies that basically were piggybacking off of Deadpool and how well it did. I think they were going to make this movie I think it was a ridiculous budget. It was like over $100 million of some kind. And they were going to do this movie in New Orleans. Well, to the backtrack, once they got the stuff ready in New Orleans, something happened where they couldn't do it anymore. So then they kept pushing the release date. And then Channing Tatum still stated on multiple social medias that he is still Gambit. So ultimately, you know, now that the whole merger has happened, they are now saying that, you know, the movie is completely canceled. To my knowledge and to some stuff that I have heard, this movie, after they had moved the release date and start tearing apart some of the sets in New Orleans, I never believed that this movie was coming out. Not for a second. Only because when you start designing production designs and start building sets for a movie, and then maybe a few months after that, maybe a year after that, you guys delay production and tear down those sets. From that point on, you're not going to make that movie. You're not, because it costs money for that. The studio lost money. People, you have to realize that this movie was almost in production. It was in pre-production. Scripts were made, final conversations were made, and they tore down sets. So since that point, I knew for a fact this movie wasn't coming. I knew that Channing Tatum was probably blowing smoke. And, you know, I know he ultimately wanted to play the role, and I wanted to see him as Gambit, but, you know, I don't really think that movie was going to happen the way it was supposed to happen. So, but yeah, thank you for your question, Veronica. And also, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Ask Alex. It's been a jam-packed show. I love that you guys keep coming back to watch the show. Please, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to all of my videos where you get more high quality content. And also follow me on my multiple social medias. We're all over social media, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, doing so many great things here at Momentum Media. And also, as I always state, thank you for watching this video, and you guys have a blessed day. Thank you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube page to get more exclusive content coming from my YouTube channel. And if you want to watch my previous videos, go ahead and click on this video up here or this video down here, where you get to see more exclusive content coming from my channel. Thank you guys for watching this video, and you guys have a blessed day.